Hello everybody and welcome to a maybe a little bit different video. I'm honestly not sure how I'm gonna cut this, how it's gonna be structured. The idea of this is, well, we have Pokemon. Well, surprise. And Pokemon are like there are different things that you can do. We have the 30th anniversary of Pokemon this week, and I just kind of feel like doing some Pokemon content. And this is basically actually just like an idea that I have for future video I want to make. But as always, I also like to include or like show my process. I just find it way more interesting to see also how people come up with their ideas and how they maybe do some research. And the basic idea behind this is there have been many Pokemon. I feel like we are at 1025 at this moment, and I want to look at the Pokemon, and we're not going through all of them. Today we're going to go through Gen 1, which, I mean, you probably know them, are all these lovely Pokemon. And I want to look, for example, here we have Pikachu. Pikachu is a perfect example. Of course, she or he is or they are the mascot of Pokemon. However, they also got like a lot of forms. Like we have the Alolan form, we have the Mega forms of Raichu, we have the Gigantamax of Pikachu. And I want to look at the Gen 1 Pokemon in this video and think about like, did all of them get in the past 30 years a spotlight in some shape, form, or fashion? I wonder that. I wanted to look at it and look if any Pokemon have been left behind. You know, especially the first 150. I feel like really interesting to look at in this regard. And it does not need to be a regional form. It doesn't need to be a mega. For example, we will certainly come to them. Is Ditto. Ditto didn't have any of this. However, with the new Pokemon game, Pokepokia, it's basically a game about Ditto. Well, not about Ditto, but you know what I mean. The spotlight is kind of Ditto, you know? Like, no other Pokemon could be able to do that in that way. And so even though it doesn't have a Gigantamax or any other special form, I still would say, no, it got, like, spotlight recently. But I don't know, maybe there are other Pokemons, like, over the years. Maybe there was a movie about the Pokemon. And we will like kind of talk about if we want to see more of that specific Pokemon back and maybe another form or something, or even the opposite where we're like, okay, we had kind of enough of you. We are like kind of oversaturated and over it by this point. So again, we are just in the research part here basically, and just like also making our thoughts. Yes. And of course, like we start at the beginning with Bulbasaur and the evolution line. I feel like they all have had their spotlight. Bulbasaur especially. Even I saw like the middle evolutions are always kind of. However, I'm also gonna look at the lines mostly as lines. If, for example, Bulbasaur has getting a spotlight, then I think Ivysaur and Venusaur will also have had the spotlight in a way, because it is, you cannot oftentimes think of just one part of the evolution line and forget about the rest, you know? Like, it's kind of like a win for everybody in the evolution line. You know, like if like Umbreon and Espeon have like a duo, moment, then I feel like it counts for the whole evolution, for the whole Eevee line, even though it's not a line. But I hope you get what I mean. Even though like Jolteon is not involved, I feel like it still gives them some shine. But maybe that will still change. I'm just still figuring it out. But especially for a line like this, the rest very clear. Yeah. But you can tell, like, for the starters, I feel like especially Bulbasaur and Squirtle are like the two that kind of get more fanfare. Now, when we come to the next one, I don't feel like Charmander gets as much fanfare as, well, Charizard, as we can see down here. Now, Charizard is actually one of the Pokemon where I personally start to feel like, okay, you're great, however, we don't need so many different forms. Like, I truly was fearing that we would get Charizard Mega Set in Legenza. We didn't get it, which I'm kind of happy for, because I much rather go to see this spot to somebody else. That is not to say that I dislike Charizard, but you see, when just always the same Pokemon get the attention and the special forms, or like, I don't know, like used in trailers, it's kind of getting somewhat boring. Of course, it is marketing, but yeah, me as a fan from the very first hour at this point, kind of getting bored of it. And especially on that, I'm gonna say they all kind of like, when I look at the Mega and the Gigantamax here, they all have kind of the same vibe. So if Charizard gets something new, I kind of want them to see them mix it up, like give us a twist in a way, and not basically go for, oh, cool Fire Dragon. We have seen that side enough by now. So yeah, Squirtle as well. I like the starters there. I feel like we don't really need to talk too much about them. I mean, I already did, but sure. Now Caterpie and its evolution line, they got not a Mega, they got Gigantamax form, which is beautiful. Yes, Gigantamax Butterfree. Yeah, look at that. It's gorgeous. I love it. So I feel like it also has been a recent gen, so I feel like they don't need another Spotlight right now. And Weirdo as well, like of course, especially Beedrill, having the Mega, like the Mega is also awesome. And again, Legends are just happened. I feel like all the Megas got like another Spotlight on them. So I feel like we will not forget about Beedrill in a while. Interesting enough, like Pidgey, like it was kind of the start. It is kind of like the blueprint of the bird Pokemon, like the normal bird Pokemon that is kind of in every generation. I'm just gonna ask a hot question here. Is it good that it's a blueprint? Do we need this blueprint? Like, I mean, the Pidgey is here, I'm fine with, but everything that followed after, or like a lot of things that followed after, I'm just kind of like, can we not do something more interesting? Pidgeotto, of course. And it has also a Mega. I feel like it's good. Then we come to Rattata, which has already a lowland form, and of course the evolution as well. It's fine. I don't feel like we need more spotlight on it. It had its moment, and I feel like the dark typing was like really it is something, like it can be also how do I say that? It can be that the spotlight that the Pokemon gets is not good enough, basically, and I will be like, no, I want something different, something more for them, even though they already got the spotlight. Now we come to the kind of more interesting part, aren't we? Sparrow. Oh, Spearow? Yeah, I'm not... We haven't seen you in a while, buddy. And Pharaoh, why does not this Pokemon get more love? And especially, again, the Gen 1 Pokemon usually get more attention. But I don't really remember when this Pokemon basically did anything in the past 30 years. Well, not 30, but in the last, 25 years, it's just always kind of like the angry bird Pokemon. I know in Alola, there is, very at the beginning of the game, I mean, Lily runs over the bridge and gets attacked by Sparrow. So it is kind of still holds that angry flying type Pokemon that will basically protect its area, but that's not enough for me. I need something here. Interesting enough, when I look down here, the Pokemon entries, it has been in every generation. It has been around. Like, it is in oh, I spoke too soon. It was not in the last generation. Okay, it's not in Paldea. I didn't even notice that, honestly. Yeah, see? I didn't even notice that it wasn't in the last game. So we need to do something with you. Otherwise, you will go forgotten. And for Pokemon from the first gen, I feel like they need to put more care and effort into this lovely being. This video especially will not be about how we can do it. I just want to find out which Pokemon are we talking about. And we found our first one, our first candidate. We need to look closer at Pharaoh and how it evolves in the Pokemon ethos, and frankly, I'm just gonna say, in the campaign of Pokemon, in the franchise of Pokemon, does every Pokemon have its place in this 1025? If not, what are we gonna do? And if yes, what is the place of the Pokemon maybe? Now, Ekans and Arbok are kinda, you might think, in the same vein, because they don't have any love that much in the past few years. I'm gonna say it's a little less than Sparrow and Firo. I need to go back to look at the name. And yeah, by the way, guys, if you don't know, my first language is German, so I'm not really familiar or so fluent basically with all the English Pokemon names. Back to Arbok. It has the advantage, of course, of being one of Jesse's main Pokemon. Not in the newer seasons, but of course in the first few seasons, it has been around a while and showed that it can hold its own. Basically, it has been strongly, for me at least, um, associations with Jesse. And the question is this enough? I feel like it had been enough for like the past few years, let's say. But now that Jesse and James and Ash have retired, it kind of gets the question, okay, what are we going to do now with this Pokemon that it doesn't basically get forgotten? And I would like to see more of it as well. Like, mostly of the Pokemon that I've forgotten, I'm just like, yeah, why are you forgotten? I don't like it. However, it has been in every generation. Now we come to the Queen Supreme herself, Pikachu. Yeah, I feel like it's pretty clear. And even now with the latest updates, Raichu also got some, like it got the Mega. Of course, it already got the Alolan version, but they keep looking after Pikachu, so we can move on. Of course, you can say like you're sick and tired of it. I can see that. I'm not. It's not like that. I'm super excited. I'm like, oh yes, a new form or like a new whatever. But I just kind of expect it at this point. However, I'm gonna say, like, for example, different to Charizard, here you see that, yes, there are like different variants that also give a different vibe. Like, a Alolan Raichu and the Mega Raichu X don't give out the same vibe, while with Charizard, I feel like all their special forms just look like copy paste and maybe a slight color change. Okay, yeah, Sandshrew and Sandslash make perfect sense, are perfectly fine, I feel like, with the Alolan version. Now, again, another one that is kind of interesting, I feel like Nidoran and Nidorina, and of course, actually, we are mostly going to talk about Nidoqueen and Nidoking. Like, the pre-evolutions are like kind of whatever, honestly, and I am just so surprised that Nidoqueen and Nidoking, yes, they are like a duo, and yes, they still get use their powerhouses, but I'm just wondering, do we need to see something more? And I feel like yes. I feel like it's time. It's time to give them another spotlight. I don't know what that spotlight could be, but okay, yeah. See, they also were not in Generation 9. Interesting. Okay, yeah, Clefairy. Clefairy would be another Pokemon that I would have said that, but Legenza changed it. Like the Mega form here did what needed to be done. Now, Vulpix and Ninetales are perfectly fine because I think, honestly, the Alolan version is way better. I'm sorry. Like, Ninetales is already a beautiful and great Pokemon, but the Alolan version is just, I mean, look at it. Look at it. Oh. Now, Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff. The thing with those two is, actually, Jigglypuff is kind of fine. We had, like, there was the Super Bowl, and it had an appearance there with Lady Gaga, basically, in the, what's it called on the spot, the not trailer, you know what I mean. And, of course, it is a fighter in Pokemon, and in Pokemon, of course, no, in Smash. So I feel like Jigglypuff will always have a place for that reason alone. However, of course, its evolution, Wigglytuff, I feel like we need to give some love to Wigglytuff. Interesting. Before at the beginning of the video, I said like the evolution line, it kind of carries through. Maybe that's not true. Maybe I just find out in this moment that it does not always. Sometimes it works. Like with the starters, I just feel like I see them really as a unit. The three, I mean not the three starters, them as well, but like Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, and Venusaur. Like for me, it's just like that's a package. But here with Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff, they feel kind of like separated. And I feel like we need to give something another spotlight, or like a spotlight at all. I don't know if Wigglytuff ever got a spotlight. However, what I remembered is, of course, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. So, yes, if you don't know, which one is it? I'm not sure. Like, there's Explorer of Time and Darkness and Explorers of Sky. I'm not sure which one is the one where it is basically the leader. If you played it, then you know. I know that a lot of people liked it in there, and honestly, I do. It sounds like I don't but I feel like it's a little bit too little. Yeah, no. It was a spotlight for Wigglytuff, and it is kind of like a funny joke to have it basically the leader of the guild, but I feel like we need a little bit more love, a little bit more of a spotlight on our beloved Wigglytuff. Now Zubat, Golbat, I mean they get an evolution. This is also something that we have to think about. That Pokemon might get an evolution later, and that also I feel like counts when they get X-Bat, I feel like, yes. That is something that they get. However, at this point, maybe X-Bat also needs something, and Golbat and Zubat. They have been in every generation, which is of course like it is a staple for not the ground, for the cave. Golbat and Zubat is a staple of every cave basically in Pokemon, which I mean you need to give it to them, that they hung on to that philosophy basically. But besides that, I kind of want them to get out of the cave basically, like to give them a little bit more something to do. Yes, here you see a Crobat. Oh, see, in the German it's not Crobat, it is X-Bat. And of course the evolution they get, however, is in Gen 2. So it's not like a lot of time has passed between Gen 1 and Gen 2. It has been a long time for us since Gen 2 came out, since Crobat came out, the evolution. So I feel like it needs another spotlight, even though maybe they don't like spotlights, because they like it dark and cavey. Now something similar could be said about the Oddish line, because then you have Gloom, and then of course you have Wild Bloom, which great Pokemon, like don't get me wrong, and they get God, what's the English name? Oh god, let me look at it. Bellossom, that's what I wanted to say. Yeah, they also get in the second gen Bellossom, so something else that they can turn into. And yeah, however, I still feel like, again, it has been a while. I feel like either Bellossom or like Wild Bloom or like somebody out of this line could need a boost in some form. Yes, Parasect. I really love this Pokemon. I know that some people find it deeply creepy, but I just love it. To me, it looks really cute. I don't know, and I know it's like the shroom and the spores and whatever. I don't care. Yes, it's kind of dark, but I like it. And again, I feel like it has nothing. Yeah, no, I looked through this page and I didn't really see any, let's say, iconic moments of this Pokemon. I really hope they should do something with it. I thought, honestly, a Gigantamax version of this would go hard, I feel like. And by the way, if you have not noticed yet, I'm not really gonna talk about the, the competitive side. I sometimes like to watch, competitive tournaments, however, I'm not an expert on that. So maybe some of the Pokemon that I list here do have, strong value in the competitive scene, which I feel like also would give them be a spotlight, we're looking for spotlights, and the competitive scene is definitely one of them. However, I'm not so versed in that. So that is something, again, where this video is just a kind of figuring it out, and then later I would go in and try to find out more information about the Pokemon that we gather right now. Okay, then we have Venonat and Venomoth. This is something that I personally need to see something happen. I love this Pokemon. I truly love it. I think it's so beautiful. I actually find it even more beautiful than Butterfree. Yeah, I don't know. I love it a lot. And there's nothing happening. Every generation that comes out, I just want them to have a spotlight, just some sort of moment. But it's just super forgotten. Okay, now Diglett has, of course, it's a Alolan form. A lot of Alolan forms here, but I like that. The Alolan forms are kind of funny of Diglett and Dugtrio. And I feel like they're still, those wigs, people still talk about them today. So, yeah, they're fine. Then, of course, Meowth. Meowth is, you see, many different forms, and from the, the anime, has a main role in there. So I feel like Meowth is fine. Actually, it's now again. This is another Jigglypuff moment where it is kind of okay. Wigglytuff maybe didn't have that much, but Persian also didn't have a lot going on. However, it has an Alolan form. I'm gonna say it's in the fine territory. What is not fine is the treatment of Psyduck. I don't know, like, Psyduck was in the anime, I mean, Misty did not only use Psyduck. However, I feel like it was definitely one of her signature Pokemons, and Golduck, nothing ever happened with this Pokemon. I find the design to this day really cool, and I feel like it's a shame that, I don't know, like a mega version of this would also go hard. Like, I would love to see that. Okay, Mankey, or more like Primeape, got a different form. It is not here. I don't know how they distinguish that. Oh, there it is. Yeah. It is a second evolution. I didn't realize. I thought it would either. It doesn't matter. So that it got like another evolution, and kind of later in the game, I feel like counts that it got a spotlight again. So we're fine here. Now Growlithe is totally fine. So is Arcanine, because they have their Hisuian versions. Oh yeah, Poliwag line. You, my friends, need something. You need something to happen. Again, you had also in the second generation an evolution, but I feel like if you got the evolution in the second generation, by now you need something else. You need another big moment. I honestly wouldn't know, however, what that would be, because I feel like neither Gigantamax nor like Mega Evolution would really doesn't really both feel fitting. I mean, a Mega Evolution of all the Pokemon would be great. I would give them all one, if you ask me. Okay, the next one, however, is quite easy. Abracadabra and Zimzalabim. No, Alakazam it's fine, because Alakazam, of course, got a Mega Evolution, and that's plenty. I feel like the Mega Evolutions are plenty and will carry us further, as long as Pokemon keeps us the option open that we can use it. Same with the Gigantamax. I know that people prefer the Mega Evolutions, however, I also like the Gigantamax forms, and I kind of want to see them return as well. Like, those two features I personally really like. I'm not sure why, but even though not a lot has happened. Oh no, wait, there is a Gigantamax version of this. Yeah. Okay, good. But even if not, I still feel like this Pokemon, like, it has something. It has like an aura that it's so unique and so difficult to describe, but it still holds space. I feel like it still holds space. It is kind of like we still talk about it. Now, Bellsprout, of course, with the new Legenza Mega Evolution, no brainer. We are perfectly fine here. Yeah, Tentacool and Tentacruel. I feel like we're not having them here, but they have a different form. But I feel like it's just they have different names. It's like Toadstool. However, it is definitely a reference to this Pokemon. Even though apparently they are not different forms, they are just literally different Pokemon. I'm just trying to find if there is any reference to this here, but I don't see it. And it is, however, enough for me to say, like, oh yeah, you're fine. I'm gonna say I kind of wish we would get something different than a lowland Geodude. However, I'm also not really a big fan of this Pokemon overall, so I'm just kind of, yeah, you got your lowland form. That was enough. Now, Ponyta and Rapidash, of course, have two beautiful forms, the Galarian versions, and yeah, that's totally fine. Slowpoke or Slowbro and like the whole line has also the Galarian version, which I'm also gonna say, much like the lowland version of the Geodude line, I'm not really feeling that. It has a Mega. Oh, yes. Is it good thing or bad thing that I forgot about this? Maybe. However, we cannot deny that it has also a second evolution or a different kind of evolution in the second generation. So Slowpoke is definitely fine. We don't need to discuss it any further. So now, Magnemite and Magneton, they have another evolution, of course. And I still feel like, because it's not an evolution that happened in the second generation, it still feels like, okay, we're doing something here. Yes, Magnezone down here. So I'm gonna say they are also getting a check mark in the list of Pokemon that they got their spotlight and they're fine at the moment and don't need anything new right now. Now, Farfetch'd got the Galarian form, so we need not really go further into this. Dodu. Another Pokemon that I really love, like the kind of flying type bird Pokemon, they don't get like a good rep. I feel like, why do not people or like the Pokemon company Game Freak want to highlight them more? Like give them a somewhat of a highlight. Come on, they're awesome. So yeah, no, Dodri, you need a little bit more attention. And same goes for Seal and Dugong. However, I'm not sure what you want to do with them. They're like really honestly basic. Like this is kind of where you see the Pokemons of the first generation limits, let's say. They have a certain kind of elegance and beauty to them, and I feel like you could do something. Honestly, I feel like you actually could give them another evolution. I don't feel like this Pokemon would need another form. Like maybe a regional form would also work. However, I would say give them an evolution, a third one. Why not? Grimer and Muk, they both got an Alolan version, which is actually like really. I feel like I don't know if it's strong and competitive, but it has like almost no weaknesses to it. I think it's only ground, isn't it? And besides that, I like the coloring, and I actually like it in the what's it called, in the animations, how it changes the colors in the animations, basically. Another who didn't get a spotlight really is Shelter and Cloyster. It is kind of interesting. They have like the thing going on with Slowbro. Well, the evolution depends on it, at least canonly. I don't feel like in the Pokemon games that's ever a thing. However, yeah, we need something more of you. The Ice-type Pokemon from Gen 1, they're kind of lackluster. Now, I was just for a moment thinking about, but why do I not feel so strongly about that statement? Like, I never forgot this Pokemon, and I feel like one reason that you have to give to all these Pokemon from Generation 1, I think, is that they're still used in promotion material. You know, like, again, as I said in the beginning, when there is like a new trailer or something, and you see an underwater world, most likely you're gonna see maybe, not Cloyster, but you're probably gonna see Shelter over here, somewhere in the corner chilling. So it is not that they're never used, but they just didn't have a moment. There are some other Pokemons, like in later generations, where you're like, I totally forgot about this Pokemon, like, because it only was kind of, well, only, but it is mostly just in that generation, and after that, the Pokemon company just didn't care at all, like even putting it in any trailer or otherwise material. Sometimes they also do like little animations on YouTube, or maybe also just on TV in general, about the Pokemon. And of course, if there is one of the Pokemon in there, like of those Pokemon that we just picked out that haven't had the spotlight, I would also call that a spotlight. However, that is also a realm where I'm not so familiar with what's out there and available. Ooh, now wait a moment. Isn't Psyduck kind of like the protagonist of Pokemon Hotel? I have not seen that yet. If you want to see me make a reaction to it, let me know. But yeah, no, it's there. Now the Ghastly line, or should I more accurately saying the Gengar line? Hey Haunter, you're great. And hot take, I kind of like Haunter more than Gengar. Like, I kind of like the design more. Honestly, yeah. But I also like Gengar. It also has a great design. And of course, it gets a lot of love. And so we don't need to talk about it that much. Onyx. Now, Onyx is kind of interesting in the sense that, of course, it gets the evolution to its steely friend, let's say. However, it is not in the... It also happened in the second generation, However, Steelix is kind of like the blueprint Steel Pokemon in a way. And Steelix got also an Mega Evolution. So I am actually this is an instant where I'm gonna count the thing that happened to Steelix with the Mega Evolution also for Onyx. So I feel like Onyx is fine, yes. And on top of that, it was one of the main Pokemon of Brock in the anime, so that also gives it an other edge. Now, Drowsy and Hypno are kind of like the Pokemon where like, well, maybe this is a Pokemon where we're like, yeah, okay, it's okay that it doesn't get any spotlight. I mean, they made the lore about this Pokemon themselves, where it's kind of like stealing children. Okay, Krabby got a Gigantamax form as far as I know. Well, not Krabby, of course, Kingler, I mean. But yeah, and I actually like this. Like, this looks so cool. I I don't know, like people shouldn't be like so hard on the Gigantamax. I didn't like, of course every Pokemon could Gigantamax, but only certain Pokemon got like a special form. But the ones that got a special form, like maybe you could also just take these forms and turn it into Mega Evolutions if you want to do it that way. And of course not having them super huge, but I don't want these forms to go away. So we have Voltorb and Electrode, and of course they have their Hisuian versions, so there is not really much to go in detail there. They had their Spotlights moment. And yeah, like this kinda... Is there any reason why the eggs turn into, well, a palm tree? I never actually looked into that. I always found it weird, but I just accepted it. But of course there's also an Alolan version here, so they also get a pass. Does the story from the very beginning like still hold it over? I mean, I know they have an Alolan version, I know that. So that's of course, but even I'm just wondering, I feel like even outside that, even if there wouldn't be a Alolan version, like the whole story with the mom that has all of us traumatized, people still talk about this, and that is one of the saddest things in Pokemon history, basically, or like in the Pokemon canon. So again, even without the Alolan version, I would actually say they did the big one in Season 1 or like in Gen 1, and yeah, they still can rest on it. Honestly, they could still rest on that. Ooh, now Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan are kind of like in the same boat. Because of this little fella here, I think they would actually get a pass. But it was Generation 2, wasn't it? But no, I feel like they should know. They both should get something. I feel like they both should get something, or maybe like the whole line should get something. More than just like a pre-evolution and Hitmontop. Of course, I didn't need to look that up. But even Hitmontop could get an update, I would say. Yeah, something about them needs to happen. Let me know what you would find interesting to see what they could do with these two Pokemon, or like with the three Pokemon even, you know? I feel like they're not even shown as a trio as much in like the games or like the anime or like anywhere, like trailers. Yeah. Lickitung, you have an evolution, don't you? Yes, you get an evolution, and it's also, I feel like, Gen 4, so I feel like it's reasoned enough that we can leave you be for now. Koffing got a Galarian form, as far as I know. Yes, there it is. And it also, again, has the connection to James. So it is one of the first, or it is the first Pokemon that James uses, and is pretty iconic for that as well. You see, I kind of want to see the same treatment for Arbok. That Arbok gets like some kind of form or an evolution, something. Rhyhorn and Rhydon are also fine because they have another evolution coming in also Gen 4. Like Gen 4 gave a lot of, well, not a lot of, but some of the Pokemon and other evolution that we will see from Gen 1 again. Chansey, Chansey, when did you get? I mean, you have any? I need to investigate this. I'm not sure which generation they came in. Aha, so as I thought, Blissey is actually Generation 2, which I kind of forget. However, Happiny is in Generation 4, so I'm gonna give it to them. That's fine. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's not like, it wouldn't be mad if it gets a new Spotlight on Chansey, but it's not necessarily needed right now. Other people could need it more. Pokemon. Yeah, Tangela also got in Gen 4 a new evolution, so that's pretty much the same here. Kangaskhan got its Mega, so nothing much more to say there. And, yeah, I mean, you two got an evolution, but also in the second generation. Seadra to see Kingdra. And just also going back to Chansey, of course, it is Doctors. Nurse Choice Pokemon, so it also gets some bonus points about that. I didn't want to glance over that. I want to give them their accolades. And this, however, I'm gonna say, yeah, let's give us some spotlights on one of those three. Like, yeah, I would like to see it, or like all the three. Same goes for Goldeen and Seeking. With Seeking, I always have to think of One Piece. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, nothing. Literally nothing. And they're so beautiful, but give us something, do something with them, please. But again, if you see like a water scene, an underwater scene, you probably gonna see a Goldeen or a Sea King swimming around somewhere. So like they're being used, but it's just kind of like in the background. Now, Staryu, Starmie, ever since Legenza, we all know. We all know this icon. See, this is what I mean with Spotlight. Okay, Mr. Mime, yes, you got the Galarian version, and you also have a pre-evolution, which I also think came into Gen 4. So lots going on, yeah. Now, Cypher, you have... Ooh. Okay, I didn't know that Cypher turns into Cleavor. Excuse me. I didn't know. I thought Cleaver was its own Pokemon. I'm not really familiar with the Hisuian's forms because I have actually not played this game yet. So yes, this also will get like a check mark. Yeah, and if it wouldn't have been for the Hisuian form, I would have said no. But this makes up for it basically, even though I didn't know about it. And by the way, if I put any of these Pokemon in the category of hey, we need to do something about it, and you know that I'm a doubter bird and have forgotten something or didn't know about something, then please let me know in the comments. Now this diva, she needs something. She just needs something. I mean, she got the pre-evolution in, I feel like, Gen 2, but we need me. It's as simple as that. She needs another spotlight. I know there is like a whole controversy about her. She's one of the uniquest Pokemon out there. And it is not on her, that was on the developers, okay? And they tried to fix it. I mean, they fixed it, but I feel like they kind of shy away from her because she has like bad, not reputation. Well, bad reputation and bad press as well. But come on, Jinx, let us see her, please. Okay, now we come to Electabuzz and Magmar after that, and I'm gonna say the same about both. They have like a pre-evolution and got like secondary evolution in Gen 4, and therefore we don't really need to talk about them any further. Pinsir, of course, got its Mega, and that's once it gets its check, and Tauros has its Paldean forms, which I really like. I like the Paldean forms. Now, Magikarp and Gyarados, it's kind of giving Zubat, you know? Even though Gyarados has a Mega Evolution that I literally forgot about. Okay, yeah, no, it has a Mega Evolution, but with the Mega Evolution in mind, it's fine, but I was about to call it the same thing as Zubat, where it's kind of like, hey, Zubat is always in the cave and you're always in the water, so let's do a little bit more, a little bit different. Now Lapras, again, the Gigantamax. I love it. I love it. Very not in the list of needing a spotlight, I feel like. And Ditto also, again, if we wouldn't have gotten the new game, Pokepokia, if not for that game, I would say we need a spotlight on you. But she literally has, or they literally have at the moment, a spotlight on them with this game that actually gets great reviews at the moment. Now Eevee, I mean, yeah, we don't need to talk about it as much because it's obvious. It kind of became like the second Pikachu in a way. And again, because Eevee got so much or gets so much attention, I feel like all the evolutions that it has, even the ones that maybe are not talked about that much, and you have Vaporeon, which is sadly not sadly, it's just, if you're on the internet, it gets a lot of props, but I mean, Jolteon and Flareon are not so much in the spotlight. However, just by virtue being an Eevee evolution, they get still a lot of shine, I feel like. And by the way, this is my favorite Eevee evolution, just so you know. Yeah, Porygon. I feel like Porygon got the different evolutions, like maybe Gen 2 and Gen 4? Not in the same gen. Yes, I looked it up, Gen 2 and Gen 4, and that just kind of speaks to me, okay, they really enjoyed it and wanted it to keeping it around, and I think they're still relevant and it's still really unique. So I enjoyed it a lot, and of course it has kind of like the controversy around it of the banned Pokemon episode. So yeah. Now we come to the fossil Pokemon, and they're like kind of in their own lane because they are like the fossil Pokemon. Because to be quite honest, none of them have really achieved anything except one of them got the Mega. We will get to that. So But I would, however, say, yeah, come on, let's do something with these fossil Pokemons here, like with Omastar and Kabuto. What's your Kabutops? Yes, Aerodactyl, of course, got its Mega Evolution, and therefore it's not in this discussion. However, the other fossil Pokemon, I feel like could use a little bit of shine. However, to be honest, I'm gonna say this about all the fossil Pokemon. They just kind of are in there, and yes, we like them, we enjoy them, but I feel like there never is anything done with them. Like, even in this last one where it was like the Paldea and you had like the Paradox Pokemon, I thought they would maybe include the fossil Pokemon a little bit more in the like story or something, but not really. Our Snorlax, of course, got what's it called? Different versions of it, and it also got a pre-evolution, which name I'm forgetting, Munchlax. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. And our 3 legendary birds. You cannot say they have not been working. Yeah, also there's Pokemon Unite. I just remember because they got announced Pokemon Unite. So maybe I have also to take that into consideration if I'm making a deep dive video about this topic. And yes, however, I mean, honestly, this is such a cool version. I love it so much. But yeah, our 3 legendary birds are perfectly fine. I kind of like their newer versions actually more than their originals. Sorry. Yeah, Rotini, I love you so much. And Dragoneer, I love you so much. And then we got, yeah, Dragonite. No, it's cute. It's cute as well. However, of course, I really like that what they made with the Mega. It kind of didn't make sense. Never made sense how we went from Dragonair to Dragonite. But now with the Mega Evolution, it kind of makes sense again, and I like that. And of course, no further spotlight needed at the moment since Legenda just came out. Mewtwo. Now we, of course, get to the legendaries. The legendaries I will not really include so much in this discussion because there are legendaries and they basically, most of them, got like a whole movie about them, which I find plenty, and also they're like kind of off the cover a lot, and the whole lore surrounds them a lot of times. I feel like they have plenty going for them, even though there are some legendaries that, I mean, I'm not gonna say they're forgotten, but they're just not used as much. Some of them are used a lot, and others are like not used at all, like the Gen 5 legendaries, I feel like are never used, which I don't really understand. So yes, Mewtwo and Mew, of course, are fine as well. Hello, Mew. Cutie. So there you have it. These are like all the ones that I feel like we need to spotlight a little bit more. Even though like Psyduck, no, I'm gonna take Psyduck out, but maybe we will put in because of Pokemon Hotel. I kind of forgot about that. And it has kind of like, is the partner Pokemon of the main, of the protagonist, basically. So I feel like that needs to count for something. However, its evolution definitely needs some love. Yeah, and I'm not sure if... Yes, Browsy is in here, even though I said we shouldn't. I couldn't leave it out because I wanted a complete list. These are all the Pokemon that I feel like need some love. Let me know if I forgot anybody. If you think like this is not right with some of them, that you say like, no, some of them actually had a spotlight in the past few years, please let me know. I'm kind of maybe gonna do a whole video about this in the future. So if you want to see that and a deep dive in these Pokemon and how we maybe can change them or like help them out so that they stay relevant, then please subscribe. In general, leave a like and a comment. It helps me out a lot and is deeply appreciated. Have a great day and see ya. Bye.